Okay, I did a quick mic check. I'm going to go ahead and record. So I'm looking at a 15-second chart right now, and we're going to trade the last hour in the market, or from basically 3 to 4. So we're looking at, we already had signals to sell, so I'm going to go ahead and do a quick sell of 10. Okay, and we're going to pop our stop loss above the high. If you hear crunching in the background, it is my dog chewing on a bone. So we should be recording. So I have it down on a 15-second time frame. This is the Power Trader Pro indicator, and I just have it adjusted to monitor different time frames. So typically, we're looking at 3 higher time frames to monitor with this indicator. So right now I have it set on a 3-minute, a 5-minute chart, and a 10-minute chart, which is pretty aggressive. But there again, I'm on a 15-second time frame. So what I'm doing is coming into the market right now and basically just coming into the last hour of the market, power hour, or whatever you want to call it, the last hour of the stock market, and just going to place some trades. That's it. You know, I've been out running around today, traded this morning. But you've been out running around, you've had stuff to do, you come home and decide, hey, I'd like to just go ahead and trade for an hour. And basically, guys, you know, you guys have heard me say this a lot, is you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. We don't know what the market's going to bring every day. So basically, you come in the market, you have your rules set, you abide by your rules, and you get into trades, you modify your stops, you close partials, you do everything according to your rules, okay? And at the end of that time frame, you have what you have. You've locked in what you've locked in, you've lost what you've lost, you've gained what you've gained, and that's all you can do is just do the best you can, okay? So not looking to ever hit home runs at this point in time of the day, you know, the last hour of the stock market. Sometimes it moves quite a bit, other times it doesn't. If you're trading indices, it tends to move a little bit more like NASDAQ or Russell, but today I decided that I was just going to stay with oil. So basically, we're not looking to be in trades that long when you're down on the 15-second time frame. You know, I've had people ask, man, you're down on a 15-second time frame. How do you think that quickly, or how do you react that quickly? And guys, 15 seconds, being on a 15-second chart, when you hear that in your mind, of course, it's very fast because you've been watching even a 1-minute chart, but typically you've been watching a 3-minute chart or 5-minute chart or even a 15-minute chart. And so, you know, even a 3-minute chart, you know, you're watching a candle countdown for 3 minutes. It seems like forever. Well, once you jump down to a 15-second time frame, and I'd advise people to do it, just drop your chart down to a 15-second time frame and count the seconds that go by between candles. And it does seem like a long time. That 15 seconds, when you're sitting here watching price bounce up and down a little bit, and you're counting down 15 seconds, it seems like a long time, okay? So what we like to do is, with the indicator, you'll see that sometimes it gives a great signal, and you take it and you profit. And then the next time, it might not be as good of a signal because the move may be over, okay? That downward move that was over here, it pulled back, and then it's over as it pulled back here. So what you get is depending on when you get in, okay? Obviously, then this one went the distance over here, okay, this stop. So you don't know which one's going to go further. You get in, and as it moves down, and you're at 1-to-1 or 1-to-1.5 or 1-to-2, then you'll go ahead and close partial and leave the runner on in case it just keeps going, okay? So again, your first signal typically is going to be your better signal with more follow through because it's a change in direction. As this is, you know, you have a sell signal here, drop down, pulled back, drop down, and then what happened here? On this move right here up, it broke this high, okay? So you have a downward move. It stopped where? That's a monthly support resistance level. Okay, on oil, I have monthly levels on there. So that is a monthly support and resistance level. Why did it turn there? Well, that's a monthly price point, okay, that it's turned previously on, and that has given us support and resistance. So don't think it's going to break through that easily, okay? So it came down, hit it, pulled back, came down, hit it again, tested it for a while, and then it was rejected. When it was rejected, it pulled up and broke the high. So once it broke the high, you have to say, okay, it looks like we may be getting that change in structure, change in direction, change of character, however you want to word it. It's all the same thing. Okay, change in character. Okay, character over here was downward. We're changing into an upward motion, change in direction, whatever you want to call it. Okay, but basically this swing up here broke that high, came down to test that high, and it was a perfect bounce off that. Okay, and then shot up. So we also had a buy signal right there on that long green candle. Now you can get in when you have that buy signal, okay? And I've got to watch. Are we 1-to-1 yet? I need to watch over here because I think we actually hit 1-to-1 and I missed the chance to pull off partial. Here I go again, talking and not watching my trade, which happens a lot. Yeah, let me see if it'll let me do this again. Putting it on backwards here. Oh, guys, I didn't want to move my stop. Yeah, we did hit 1-to-1. So I really messed that. Actually, I think my stop was about up here. But I still think we hit 1-to-1. So I missed my opportunity to close partial because I was too busy talking. But there's the trade. So when I got in here with 10, I meant to put on my close partial, which would have been 9. So I would have dropped it to that and then come down right at that price level and closed out 9. So we would do a buy limit to close out 9 right there. So we want to close partial. You guys can do 1-to-1, 1-to-1.5, 1-to-2, whatever you want to do. So I find on the 15-second time frame, I'm real comfortable doing the 1-to-1 on partial. And then if it closes out the partial here, which is 9 contracts, then I would move my stop down here to at least halfway to break even. I won't pull it quite to break even. That's a little too aggressive on this. So we'll see what we're going to get. But back to this. Again, you get the big green, you get the buy, the big green candle. You can decide if you want to buy on that or not. The other is to pull a fib level, from the swing low to swing high at that point, or the entry price, and put your entry here, which would have been 50% back. So basically what I'm talking about is taking your swing low back here and go to the high. Basically, I'm going from this low right here, okay, to the high of that candle that said buy, and then your fib tool would be on an actual fib retracement level. Okay, so again, we're marking the low to the high, and at 50%, which is right here on that green line, and which it barely got there. So you put your entry, you get the signal, it's a long green candle, you say, hey, I don't want in on that. It's pulled too far. Let's wait and see if it pulls back. So what I would do is, because you don't want to miss something if it keeps going. Okay, like over here, you have a sell signal, and if you would draw your fibs from, say, this high here to that entry candle right there, then and wait for it to pull back 50%, it never does, because it would be like right in here. And it never pulls back 50%. It goes without you. So that being said, on this green candle here, it's a long green candle. And if you say to yourself, man, I don't want to get in, that's too long, put one contract on. You can add to your position. So you can put one contract on in case it goes and runs without you, so you don't miss out. Meanwhile, at the 50% level or the 38.2% level, put the other 9 contracts on. If you're using 4, put one on here instantly when you get the buy signal. You put one on, and then you put the other three at the 38% or 50% level. And that way, when it pulls back, you're actually getting in now. Now you have the full trade on, when it pulls back. If you're putting on 4, you're getting in with 1, holding 3, putting a buy limit here of 3, and boom, it pulls back and puts you in the rest of the trade. You're getting in on the other 3 at a better price. Okay, you're waiting on that retracement. So that's how I would handle that. If you look and you say, man, when I get that signal, I don't want to jump in with all my contracts. Okay, especially like here, we get a buy. Well, if you would have only put one on, then it does pull back 50%. Your other 3 contracts, you'd be in back here, and those pull up into that profit. And you have to look at what happened. I mean, it basically failed to break the previous high. This pull up right here, it just went up and touched it, and that's it. Okay, so we never know when it's going to run out of steam. So the best we can do is just grind it out, place our trades, and do what we do every day. So I don't know, this already technically went to my take profit for closing partial. So I would have actually had 9 already closed out. So we're going to see if it hits there again. I'm going to leave it like this. Hopefully it'll pull back down and hit. And then I have to decide when I want to pull. If it hits and closes 9, I'm definitely going to, move my stop halfway, which will be right down in here. And then if it pulls down and breaks this previous low right here, if I see candles close below that low, then at that point I might move my stop to break even. Got to get a little more aggressive since we're on the 15-second time frame. And this may still seem like it takes forever, guys. I'm not kidding. By the time you sit there and count the candles, it just takes forever. Let's mark out 4 o'clock. Got a baseball game to go to here in a little bit. So we're going to leave about 4:14. So this is me coming in, back home. We just got home from picking up one of our cars at the dealership. And just, telling the wife, hey, I know we're leaving at 4:15. I'm going to go down the computer and trade a little bit. And here we sit. So just picking a time frame. This is my time frame I'm trading right now. I traded again in the morning, traded last night. You pick your time frame you're going to trade. We don't need to trade all day, and then just trade according to your rules. I allotted myself. I knew we were going to get home about 3. I was like, I'm going to go down and trade from 3 to 4 p.m. And that's what we're doing. Clock on the wall says 3:22 right now. So we're just going to wait on the candles to tick by. Why'd the dog chews on her bone? So not much happening. I'm not looking to trade multiple instruments right now. Just trading one small account. This is a small account I'm trading on. So using small contract size, 10 contracts. On this account, I typically am looking for 500 per day, not per trade, per day. And I've already done that, last night and this morning. So that's just a little extra. So right now it's back down around that low. Okay, I've marked out 3 to 4 with my vertical line. So this one's at 3 p.m. And I got started a little after 3 p.m. because it was already over here and we already had a sell. So if I would have got in on one of those sell signals and had my stop where it is, above that high, then either one of the sell signals, I'd be in profit already. Let's see. The first sell signal is right there. That would be your entry, and we would have to stop there. Let me change this back to my trade marks. And I'll zoom in a little bit on that. It would still be the same stop, level. So let me kind of pan that over. So again, we're looking at this first sell signal here. That would be our entry, and that would be our stop, or our stop up there where our stop is. Okay, I want to try not to move the stop, but I'm going to move it. I'm going to leave that right there. So as you can see, it almost hit 1-to-1 here, but not quite. This candle here did hit 1-to-1 over here. So on that candle drop there, that would have been in profit, that one trade right there. Okay, getting in on this candle here, same thing. This actually, if we would have got in on that sell signal, this right here, this one, either one of those would have touched your trade. You'd have been closed profit. This one here, getting in on that sell signal, you don't hit profit till the red candle here. And of course, I get in over here. So we were up about $80 and we're back down to 70. So it played around with our target. I probably should have moved my, we talk about inside tops and bottoms. So it fell shy of hitting the previous low. And that's kind of why I have my price point there, the buy limit at TP1 on the indicator. And guys, this is nothing more than the Fibonacci indicator that I've just modified. The settings are out there on one of the videos. So a little disappointed, didn't quite get there, but that's our, and it was up about 80. Right now, actually, it would have been up, yeah, we probably hit 100 and something because we're up about 100 right now. And that's about all I look for in a trade. Come on. Oh, it just went down there. It kind of touches a little. Are we not pulling off 9 there? Yeah, it does say 9. Sorry, it's clear across the screen. I can't hardly see it. And I just want to make sure that says 9 on that. So look at it play around with our price. Got a big smoothie from Smoothie King. That's to get me pumped up for tonight. So it almost took us out. You know, if you want to draw a trend line across this downward move or trade line, I would come back and start up here, you know, where it ran, and look and see, can we draw a couple down trade lines and see what happens. Well, let's draw one from there to there. That does us no good because we've already broken through that, right? So let's take it out, and we can't really take it out there. We'd have to come back here to that point. And if we come to that point right there, well, that looks like a decent line that it's following right now. Okay, so let's mark this red. Actually, we can just mark it as a down trade line. And then look at the 2 points we're drawing off of. We're drawing off of this point, and we're drawing off of this point right here. And looking at those 2 points, if we zoom in on that area, we notice that we drew from a point clear back here, the start, and then we looked at drawing that line from this point to this point, and it kind of came down through here, so that doesn't do us any good because price has already broken through that one. So we had to move it out, stretch it out, and drew it to this point right here. Okay, well, drawing that point, then we look and we say, okay, it looks like it's respecting that line. So what's it doing right now? Right now, it is in a wedge. Okay, there we go. It took out partial. So what I need to do before I get to talking and not doing it is I need to take this down to 1 contract, my stop, and I'm going to move it down here partial. So we're going to move it halfway. But again, we're in that wedge area, right? So we have our down line, down trend line, down trade line. We have a horizontal line marked off of this low, and it kind of hit near there here, it hit there. It does not want to break that very easily, right? So that's that wedge pattern or triangle pattern, okay? So we have a descending wedge or descending triangle pattern. So which will hold out? Will the down trade line, will it push price down through the bottom? Or will that bottom support and resistance level right here, will that hold up and hold price up? We also have to remember that there is a monthly support and resistance level. So we're playing with that. That is not in our favor. Okay. The monthly support and resistance level being right there is not in our favor. Okay. So that's not going to help us at all. So I could see price, staying in here for a little bit, kind of doing its dance, back and forth, maybe pop out, maybe test this, and who knows if it'll go up. The other is we're looking to see what it can do. Okay, it can stay in here and bounce back and forth. And then that trend line, trend line, I like calling them trade line because it's there to support my trade. It's not there for long term. My trend lines are on the 4-hour chart or 1-hour chart. So trend lines are drawn on a 1-hour chart or 4-hour chart. Trade lines are drawn on these 15-second or 1 minute or 3 minute. They're only drawn to support my trade. That's it. That's why they're called trade lines. I could see it coming down and doing something like this, testing that. So I don't know what we're going to get in here. Right now it looks like it might be breaking through the top. So we don't really know what's going to happen overall. We got in the trade. We closed partial. We moved our stop halfway to break even to give it that little extra room to do what it's going to do. And so what happens is if it comes back and stops me out, I'm going to lose half a position on one I locked in. Okay. So we closed out 9 contracts here at 1-to-1. Okay. We left one on, one runner. Close out 9 contracts at 1-to-1. If it goes back and stops us out, we're going to lose half of one of the full contract that was locked in. So we're going to get 8.5 contracts in profit, basically. 8 of them in a full one level, one take profit level, and then the one at half, because this is going to take away from that. Okay. So let me take these away so we can see the candles. Because as you can tell, it's really not wanting to break either way. So this is getting into what I call that time push. Time is moving on, and it's going to have to go one way or another. It can go sideways. There's 3 ways that your instrument can move. It can move up, down, or sideways. It's not just bullish and bearish. It can move sideways. Okay, sideways is that indecision. That's when it's moving back and forth between the bulls and bears. That's an indecisive move when it moves sideways, but it happens. So right now we're not having either side of the market take control. It's just moving sideways. It's going to push through that down trade line because it has nowhere to go. If it's not going to move down, it's going to move sideways like it is and break through the down trade line. Okay? And that's what we're seeing. It's a time push. That's what I call it. I don't know what else to call it, guys. So, but the stress is off now. Okay? And again, place your trade, get in, sell signal. You sell, put on 10 contracts, sell, put on your stop above the high, and then put a buy limit. In this case, if you're going short, use a buy limit to close out 9. If you're going long, you would put a sell limit on. And then it takes the pressure off. We've moved our stop to halfway to break even. Guys, right now with where the price is, I'm up $18. Okay, where the price is. That 1-to-1 is around what, $16? So you're talking $8 about if it goes back here and stops me out. I'll lose back 8 of what I've already gained and locked in. See, I don't want to mess up the video. See if I can go out and do this without messing it up. If I take TradingView off the screen, it has a hard time putting TradingView back. So we locked in 135. I'll put the report out on Discord because I don't want to switch screens. Because if I switch screens to the Tradevate report I just pulled, then what's going to happen is it may not allow me to switch back. The software I use to screen share or record this, it sometimes won't allow me to switch back for some reason right away. Like I can switch to show you the PDF, but then what happens is when I try and switch the screen back here to Trading View, sometimes it won't let me, and then we just have a black screen. And I don't want to do that. I want to keep the video running. So I will put it out in the Discord. But so far, I've done one trade in oil, and I got, what I tell you, 135. So 135, no losses, obviously. If I let the stop loss, leave it where it is, then of course we would get a stop, or we'd get a small loss. Now I'm going to go ahead. I said, if you remember, we had our close 9 here by take profit 1. Take profit 2's down here below the monthly. We don't know if it's going to peak below the monthly or not. But I said if it got down below these lows, okay, then I was going to move my stop where? I was going to move it to break even. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to pull it down a little bit just to so you can see where the trade is. The other is this right here. Just pulling it to break even, and then you just got to kind of put it to where it says no overlap, because by default it'll maybe it'll hold there. It might hold there actually. See how it's kind of overlapping? So if we do that, it'll stick out there. So a little better than break even, not much. Basically, I'm in that break even. The pressure's off. We're not going to have any loss against our gains we've locked in. So right now I locked in 135. Now, notice it's taken a while for this trade to go through. So again, it seems like a lot. It seems like, man, you're on the 15-second chart, and it's just going to go so fast. It really, again, doesn't. I've been waiting. I've been talking. We've been waiting. We've been watching. And that's it. And just waiting on it to do its thing. Now it's at the monthly support resistance level. Do we think it's going to break it? I don't know. It might peak below there. Do I think it's going to break it easily? I never do. A monthly support resistance level, you don't think it's going to break them very easily. Okay? So one thing you have to remember is, I don't know what to say about this, is just do it. If you make up rules for getting in a trade, which mine is this, if I see the buy or sell signals, I'm going to get in. Okay? You have to do it. When it comes up, you do it. You wait for a candle to close, though, because the sell signal may come up, while the candle's forming, and then the candle pop back up, and it end up not giving you a sell signal. So always wait for a candle to close. Let me reset the chart because it's popping. Popped right below that monthly. Didn't think it'd go that far below it. So what are we going to do? So I'm looking at this flat area. We have our lows here, right? A low from here and here. So we have a few lows. We can mark those out. We have a low there. We have this low here. And, we have the lows in here. So several times did it come down to that level, that price point, and not break it. Okay. Then we look over here and notice I don't really care what price is doing right now. I know it's going down. I don't care right now. I'm not planning on moving my stop super aggressive. If I was really wanting to move my stop aggressive, I'd already have my stop down here below the monthly. I'm trying to decide where I want to put it in relation to this area right here. Okay. So in regards to this area right here as my price support, okay, where am I moving my stop? Well, I want to move it somewhere in there. Okay. Because this price level right here, okay, it acted as support, right? Right there, all those arrows I marked in here. As the price fell to that level, it bounced. Fell and bounced. Even there, we can put another arrow in. Okay. Did I not pick it up? Okay, so again, it fell, bounced at that price point, pulled up, fell, rejected at the price point, pulled up, pulled back, rejected, pulled back, rejected, pulled back, rejected in here too, technically. Price actually popped down there too, not there. But that one. But you watch it. Falls, rejected, rejected, pullback, rejected, pullback, rejected, rejected, rejected. Then once it finally went through, and even here, you know, you had these two red candles pull down, and then boom, it pulled back up. That was its last rejection, was right in there. Okay? So multiple times it was rejected. Okay? As it held up as support, price was rejected, and then it finally broke through, and then, you know, it kind of tried to pull back a little bit, not much. You know, pulled down here, pulled back a little bit, not much. So you look at that and go, well, my stop should be safe here, okay? I'm looking for a reason and trying to make that decision of where I should move my stop. Where do I think I should move my stop that would be safe to keep my stop out of the way so that if it keeps running for the rest of the session, that I'm not being taken out early, okay? Now, that means you get back a lot. Right now on my runner, I'm up $24. If you look where my entry price is, okay, and where we're at right here at the monthly SR level, okay, that's $26. Let's just say $25. And if you look down here at the peak where it hit, that's almost double that. So I was up $50 on the runner and to let it go back 25 to 425, or to let it go back here where I'm up about 13. Okay, maybe it'll be about 12, 13. It'll be half of it, because if it's 25 here, notice my stop's about halfway back to my entry. So it could come back and stop me out there, and I'm only locking in $12 on the runner. I'm fine with that. I'm giving it the room to move and do what it's going to do. I don't care if all I lock in is $12 on the runner. You know, if I was going to try and maximize on the runner on the move down, where would I have done it? Right in here. I would have got aggressive, and I've done that times. It starts getting a steep, aggressive downturn, then yes, I've trailed stops down tight. And then boom, you're pulled out on this pullback right here. That wick right there takes you out. And that's fine. You got a nice aggressive move. But now you're trying to find another entry. Unless you're done for the day. Okay? So far it's been a nice move. I don't know what's going to hold up. The monthly support resistance did not hold up right now. As it peaks back through, we've got that low. So we might be out of the trade here shortly. Here's 4 o'clock. I think it's 4. Yep. So we have 4 marked on there on the chart, because I said I was only going to trade for this hour. So far, one good trade. We've locked in $135. That's in the bank right now by closing 9. Okay. Now for me, on this small account, I like 500 per day. I talk to people all the time, and I go over numbers in my videos as if you were to work 8 hours in construction. My background, of course, is in construction from a long time ago, right out of high school. And, you know, most guys in the area, even just starting out as labor, are making $20 an hour at a minimum. So, you know, that's $180 a day. 8 hour, or 160, sorry. So 8 hours, $20 an hour. They're making $160 a day. For working 8 hours, I just made $135 since 3 o'clock. And we got in after 3. So what is it? Half an hour? Not even that, really. But So basically trading in this 1 hour. There's another sell signal. Now, we could have moved our line out. I didn't do it in keeping up with my line. So basically, here's how you move your trade lines and trend lines. As price breaks through them, okay, you don't want to be quick to move it. So we had this pull up here and then pull back down. You don't move your line there to that point. And then it pulls back up and comes in, makes these, and then pulls back down. You don't move your line there. When you move your line is when it pushes below the low. So technically on this push down here, then you would have moved your line over to this point right here, okay? And that's how you keep it. But you need to wait. You don't get aggressive. And, like I said, as it breaks through the line and comes back down here, you don't move your line at that point and put it there. That's aggressive line movement. That doesn't get you anywhere, okay? Because then it peaks past it right here and then pushes down. And then you're moving your line again. So the reason why you don't want to do that is because you leave your line here, because as it moves sideways, it may not break through the low, okay, this low bar here, that line, and it may just bounce and go high. So the only time you move your lines is when price drops on an extension. So you get this extension here pushing past the low, then you say, okay, it has definitely made a lower low. Just the fact that it's pushing past these lows means that it's making a lower low. Okay? Of course, it started moving sideways. Yes, you can move your line at that point. And if I would have done that here, well then, doesn't this look like a rich bounce off there? Okay. So my bad for not keeping up with the line. I'm too busy talking about this support and resistance level. And that's a nice pullback, sell signal. We're already in though, so we're not doing anything with ours. We can come in and mark the next, the low over here. That would be our low to break that we're waiting on. That's our low to break. Now, how many people can see it bouncing and dancing around in here? Right? I mean, how many can see that price totally bouncing around in this area right here? I can. I can see it dancing around in there for the next half hour, hour. I don't know. I got 15 minutes before 4, so we'll see what it does. Watch what it does in that area. Does it just sit there and bounce around? If you would have taken a sell signal here, okay, and put your stop above this high, I'm going to go ahead and mark it. That would mean your trade. Let's shove it to the back. Okay, we'll leave that on there. I mean, I'm already in, right? And my, let me take that off. There we go. Trying to stretch this over. I don't want to stretch it all the way over on top of the other. Okay, so it almost hit 3-1 for us. Getting him back over here. And again, if I would have took it right when the sell signal came, I would have, it would have been at 3-1. But I didn't start up the software till after 3. And I wanted to take the trade on camera, not off. Everybody seems to like that better. Just calm, cool, not really care what it's doing right now. I need it to at least come down and make another run at this low. At that point, I may consider moving my stop right here. Let's see, how did we have that marked? So we're going to look at stop options. Yeah, where's it at? Let's get a couple stop markers on here. I'm just dragging some down, okay? So we're going to look at stop options. Right now, that's where our stop is up here. And we did that for this reason. We have this, again, area price of support and resistance in there. So we figured that is a safe place for us to keep our stop, is up above that. Okay, well now we're getting close to 4 o'clock. And on this platform and this account, I have to, this one is through Trade Debate. So I have to close out before 5. And my son's got a baseball game. So we have to leave about 4:15. We like to get there a little early and get set up. So since we're going to leave about 4:15, I need to still load the car up with our chairs and everything. So I need to quit here about 4 o'clock. And that's what I said when I came to the computer. I'm going to trade for an hour. That's it. You get what you get. You don't throw a fit. I could have taken a trade, could have been a loser. Everything's moving kind of slow, guys. We've been through about 45 minutes, almost 49 minutes. So again, it just seems to move slow. You know, even though we're on a 15-second chart, we're still waiting on candle by candle by candle. Okay, we had sell signals up here, sold off that, and then eventually got another sell signal here. So that has not hit 1-to-1 yet. So no, I put the sell marker here as if you would have sold right when the sell signal came. Sell signal came, you would have sold there, okay, with your stop above that high. Okay, give it some room, a little bit of room. It is, right now it hit 1-to-1. So there you go. You would have closed out your 9. Or if you're putting on 4, you'd closed out 3. Leave one runner on in case it goes. But notice it did not pull back either. Remember how I talked about that? When it's extended and you get that sell signal, you could always put on 1 and then put on the other 9 on a pullback, okay? A sell limit. So that when it pulls back, then you get in on the others that are better priced. The problem is, with like this one, you're only in for 1 contract. It did not pull back. Or if you're trading with 4 or 3, you put on 1, let's say you're doing 3. And then on a 50% pullback from that high right there to your entry price, you put on 1 contract in case it just goes without you. Meanwhile, you take the other 2 and you put the other 2 on. I would put it below that monthly line right there. I would not go above it. Because again, you're talking about monthly support resistance level. And you still would not have been triggered on the 2 short. Okay? So irregardless of how many you're trading, it just went with the 1 contract if that's what you're doing. Now for me, I'm going all in on each signal, and you just pull the trigger on the signal. That's it. That's the rule. I pull the trigger on the signal. So back to stop placement. Again, our stop's here. I could see, you know, again, we would be safe right here, putting the stop where if you got in on this entry was back here because it could pull back and test that area. But we're getting toward the end of the day. So I would want to get even more aggressive than that. Okay. And so where are you going to put the stop? There. We're going to trail down. I'm going to mark this one since it is this trade's stop right there, that trade. Now you would have moved to halfway. So let's do that. I'm going to take this one and put it there, because if you would have got in on this trade here short, if you would have taken that entry right there short, I don't care what it is, 3 contracts, you're closing 2 at 1-to-1, 4 contracts, you're closing 3, you know, whatever it may be, your stop would be here if you're moving your stop halfway to break even. If you're moving your stop to break even, you would have been just taken out, but no loss against your gains. Okay, so even that trade was a good, successful trade this late in the day. Again, it doesn't matter. 10 contracts on, it closed out 9 here. So you lock that in, 9 at 1-to-1, and moved your stop to halfway point. Your stop's here. If you move your stop to break even, it's here, and you're taken out. So let's say that you're always moving your stop to break even. Okay. I love doing this, guys. I love leaving your trade marker on. Okay. Leave your trade marker on. Leave your stops here, your potential stops. Okay. And what you want to do is see how it pans out for the rest of the day. You might be out of the trade. You might have moved your stop here to break even and you're out of the trade. That's okay. Watch and see what happens the rest of the day. Let's say it shoots down and shoots through the bottom of this triangle pattern and goes down from 4 to 5, and you could have gained more profit. Well, then you just know, how often does that happen? Are you better off if you leave your stop to the halfway point, okay, and be willing to lose, half of a 1-to-1 that you locked in here on one contract, okay, and lose half of that. You should be doing stuff like that to help in your analysis with your trading, how you should handle your stops. So right now, I'm still holding short. It's broken through the trend line, or trade line right here, that we kind of moved out again from these other points. So right now, it's broken through it. So now we don't move our trade line yet. When we're getting ready to move it, and we would move it off of this high right here. That's behind that sell signal. There's the top of it, because I got the magnet on. So the top of that green pin bar right there is right there, okay? And by the way, what is a pin bar? Got a doji in there, you got a pin bar, got several candles in there. That's a pin bar right there. Got a doji right in front of it, another pin bar here. Well, the bearish side of the market's pushing it back down. The bullish side is trying to push it up. The bearish side is pushing it down. So a little indecision in there while we pick a direction. Several candles with wicks both ways. So we're seeing sell signal. And that's because the higher time frame here is turning green and red and green and red. That's where we're getting it. There we go. Another push. Now, how many of you would have sold on either of those? Again, we're trusting the signals. So it pushed back down. Right now it's at the inside bottom. Let me take off the triangle here. If you don't know about the inside bottoms, it's the inside of a swing. You have a swing down and a swing back up. And you're talking about the inside of that. The low, obviously, is here. That's the low. And the inside bottom would be this swing. The inside of that swing. The inside top would be as if it's a bullish candle. Or, a move up and down. And it would be the inside of that top. So we come in and mark the inside bottom. And you'll notice that's where it hit here and kind of panned out. I noticed it was there at the inside bottom, but I guess I didn't cover that. I don't always mention those. Because, a lot of people don't know about them. You can get confused. So far, you look back at from 3 o'clock. Nice day so far. Nice trade. Been in it for a while. So it's coming down toward 4. So I have to make a decision. Am I going to close it out? I got 4 minutes left. So I don't like closing runners. I do not like closing runners. I like letting them go the distance. Because who's to say over the next hour between 4 and 5 that this won't continue down? I can't say that it won't. I can't say that it will. I don't know if it will. I don't know if it'll turn here, okay? We don't have that crystal ball. We have to see what the market is doing and make decisions based on that, okay? All I can tell right now is it's testing this bottom over here. Is it going to break the bottom? It could. Is it going to pull back up here to test that monthly support and resistance level again? It could. Now, it already broke our downtrend line, and technically, it barely, okay, this little push down here, these little wicks, it barely broke that. I hate even calling that a break of the low because it barely did. Because if you look at the bodies of the candles, since we're on a 15-second, it basically bounced right there. Okay, but I can go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and move this out to that top. Okay, so again, it could bounce in here, right? Bounce back and forth. That's another triangle. It's still this one. Still a triangle from way back here. Okay, we've just expanded the top out here by turning it. So is it going to break that or not? I don't know. So what I have to decide is where would I move my stop now to lock in a little more profit. Obviously, I'm only up $43 on the runner. It's not a lot. Dinner and a tip, a nice breakfast. So where am I going to move my stop? So I think I'll move my stop right here. Okay. Above the monthly support resistance level. Actually, I'd leave it a little more room. I'm going to move it right in there. The reason why I'm giving it a little more room is because that right there, if I turned off the indicator, you see that wick right there, that pin bar wick marked by that white arrow, it touched that monthly support resistance level. So I don't want to put my stop too close to that, okay? Because I don't want it to whip up and just take me out and then keep moving down. So that's where I'll move my stop. And then if this right here price pushes further down, then if it breaks this low in here and pushes further down, well then I'm going to move my stop in here. Okay. So basically I'm going to move my stop at a halfway point or close to halfway point between this low right here. Okay, that low right there. This is if it's broken. If price comes down and breaks that level, I want to come in and where this low is right here and where that monthly support and resistance level is, I want to move my stop about halfway. So I'll pull my stop right in there only if it breaks this low. Okay, now, how soon is that going to happen? I don't know. Here we are at 4 o'clock. I said I was going to run for an hour. And I got to go start packing the vehicle. Okay, we're heading out to baseball game. So I cannot watch it from here. I'm getting ready to leave. So I'm going to watch it on the phone, not going to stare at it. Here's the thing. I'm going to leave the house. Right now, I have the I don't care attitude with this trade. Okay, it's breaking right now that low. Okay, don't want to get aggressive yet. I'll go ahead. We'll work a couple candles in here. I'll go a couple, maybe 5 more minutes, and then I really got to scoot. So we'll see what it does since it's doing it. Of course, it has to wait till 4 o'clock to do this. It's just pulling me in, isn't it? Trying to keep me here. So again, you're gearing up, you're getting ready to leave. You got to have that I don't care attitude. I don't care what it does while I'm gone. Maybe we should make a motto up. I think so. The I don't care trading attitude. I don't care what the instrument does while I'm away from the computer. I will check in on it at 4:30 when I get to the field and set up. And then I'll make an adjustment to my stop from there. And then I will check on it at 4:45 and probably close it out at that point. Okay? So, watching it right now, it could come back and test that. I think I'm going to go ahead and move the stop. I said if it broke that low, which it did, I'd move the stop. Now, moving my stop down, a little more aggressive. Okay? And I could be taken out just by it going back up and testing that trade line down. But I'm okay with it. So again, I'm going to wrap it up here. Hope you enjoyed this session. Again, I'm trying to show you that you can come to the market at any given time Trade whatever strategy you're using. I don't care if it's moving averages, MACD, RSI, stochastics, Nanchion channels, whatever you're using. It doesn't really matter. Come to the chart, sit down at your desk, take your time slot, trade your time slot accordingly, and be done. I only had this hour to do this. Okay? And again, so far, I've made $135. We're up $48 where it is right now. If it pulls back, we're going to lose back what? Maybe a third? I think it's about a third of the way back from all the way up here. So we're at 48. We'd lose back a third of that. So 135 plus maybe $30. So 160, 165, somewhere in there, 150, 165 is what I'll make if it pulls back. Now, if I get to move my stop down more, that's even more. So basically, in 1 hour, because I got in a little after 3 and it's a little after 4. So basically, in 1 hour, I've made someone's 8-hour daily wage at $20 an hour. Just sitting here, just making a trade, nonchalantly moving my stop as it went, just watching the highs and lows. I'm on a 15-second time frame, which again seems real aggressive. However, when you sit here and watch it like this, that was an hour that went by, and it seemed to be forever. Okay? So again, hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you later.